daughter's gone.
A note was left in your daughter's
Yes.
How old is your daughter?
6 years old. She's gone. 6 years old.
He said there's been a kidnapping. It involves a 6-year-old girl. There was a ransom note, a 2.5-page ransom note. And according to the ransom note, there was going to be a phone call from the author, and they were supposed to call between 8 and 10 a.m. So I was supposed to get to the house for purposes of monitoring the phone.
On December 26, 1996, the world was introduced to one of the most perplexing and heartbreaking murder cases in American history. 6-year-old JonBenét Patricia Ramsey was found dead in the basement of her family's Boulder, Colorado home, launching an investigation that continues to baffle law enforcement and captivate the public nearly 3 decades later. JonBenét Patricia Ramsey was born on August 6, 1990, in Atlanta, Georgia. The kindergartner at High Peaks Elementary School had already made a name for herself in the world of child beauty pageants, winning titles including Little Miss Colorado, America's Royale Miss, and National Tiny Miss Beauty. Her participation in these pageants would later become a focal point of media coverage and speculation about potential motives for her murder.
Your baby's close to you. There's someone out there.
JonBenét lived with her parents and older brother Burke in an affluent neighborhood in Boulder. Her father, JonBenét Ramsey, was a successful businessman and president of Access Graphics, a computer software company that later became a subsidiary of Lockheed Martin. Her mother, Patricia "Patsy" Ramsey, was a former Miss West Virginia who actively managed JonBenét's pageant career. Burke, born in 1987, was 9 years old at the time of his sister's death. Christmas night began normally for the Ramsey family. They attended dinner at the home of family friends, the Whites, and returned home around 9:30 p.m. Patsy Ramsey tucked JonBenét into bed, and the family prepared for an early morning flight to Michigan to celebrate a second Christmas with John's older children from his first marriage. At 5:52 a.m., Patsy Ramsey made a frantic 911 call that would change everything. "We have a kidnapping. There's a ransom note here."
We have a kidnapping. Hurry, please.
Explain to me what's going on, okay?
There's a note left and our daughter's gone.
A note was left in your daughter's
Yes.
Patsy claimed she had discovered a 2.5-page handwritten ransom note on the kitchen staircase while going to make coffee. The note demanded exactly $118,000 for JonBenét's safe return, a figure that precisely matched John Ramsey's Christmas bonus from the previous year. John Ramsey later reflected on this eerie coincidence. "I pointed out to police first on the scene that the amount was nearly identical to my Christmas bonus of the prior year, which suggested that someone who would have access to that information would be involved in the crime."
Patsy loves both her children dearly, but frankly, she and JonBenét were extremely close.
A Christmas morning photo of the kids. If I told you right now that we have trace evidence that appears to link you to the death of JonBenét.
The note read in part, "We have your daughter. She is safe and unharmed, and if you want her to see 1997, you must follow our instructions to the letter."
It said, "We have your daughter."
I just heard Patsy scream. I could tell by her scream that something horrible was going on. I didn't know what.
I immediately ran back upstairs and pushed open her door, and she was not in her bed.
It's just like you just got hit in the stomach. This horrible feeling like, where's my child?
Despite the ransom note's warnings against contacting police, Patsy had already called 911. 2 officers arrived within 3 minutes but conducted only a cursory search. Officer Rick French went to the basement and paused at a door secured by a wooden latch but walked away without opening it, the same door behind which JonBenét's body lay. For hours, the house was not properly secured as a crime scene. Friends, family, and clergy came and went, potentially contaminating evidence. At 1 p.m., Detective Linda Arndt asked John Ramsey and family friend Fleet White to search the house again. John Ramsey opened the latched basement door that Officer French had overlooked. Inside, he made the horrific discovery that haunts him to this day. JonBenét was there. I saw her immediately, and it was a rush of relief. I thought, God, I found my child. And then I pretty quickly realized that she may not be alive.
I couldn't do anything but scream.
Keep your babies close to you. There's someone out there.
JonBenét's body showed signs of a brutal attack. Her mouth was covered with duct tape. A garrote made from nylon cord and a broken paintbrush handle was around her neck. She had sustained an 8.5-inch skull fracture. Evidence suggested sexual assault. Her body was covered with a white blanket. The autopsy revealed that JonBenét died from asphyxia by strangulation associated with craniocerebral trauma. Investigators found vegetable or fruit material which may represent pineapple in her stomach, consumed hours before her death. A bowl of pineapple was found on the kitchen table with Patsy's fingerprints on it, though neither parent remembered giving it to JonBenét.
The murder of 6-year-old JonBenét Ramsey captivated the nation and put her family under the microscope, with many speculating that her father, mother, brother, or all three were involved in her killing. Tonight, her brother Burke speaks after 20 years of silence about that painful saga.
John Ramsey expressed his frustration with the investigation. We knew they were totally focused on Patsy and me, and we were aghast. But I said to them, okay, great. Let's work through that, and then don't stop there. Well, they did stop there.
Lot. There was one day when he and Patsy managed to escape the paparazzi, and they made it to a grocery store, and there was a headline that Burke...
Brother did it.
And he burst into tears.
Yeah.
Well, what was his reaction?
Well, Burke's a very quiet, private person. We tried very hard to keep Burke's life normal, and that just was like a huge interruption to that.
In 2003, forensic investigators extracted DNA from JonBenét's underwear that belonged to an unknown male, excluding all members of the Ramsey family. This DNA was entered into CODIS, Combined DNA Index System, but matched no profiles in the database. Later testing revealed the same unknown male DNA on JonBenét's long johns, suggesting the perpetrator had direct contact with the victim. Forensic scientist Dr. Angela Williamson explained, whoever committed this offense must have pulled down her long johns, but then they pulled them back up because she was found dressed.
Touch DNA is transferred every time someone touches someone or touches an object. Essentially, if you touch your hand to your shoulder, without gloves on obviously, you're shedding skin cells. And so you're leaving behind some DNA in the form of those skin cells when you touch someone or something.
So instead of like on a CSI episode, we don't have to find a fingernail or a shred of skin or even a drop of blood. You can find this DNA
Touch
just
DNA
from
is...
somebody from touching something.
Yes, exactly, and touch DNA is not visible. So the way to find it is to try and anticipate where that person has touched the victim, or actually, if the victim is surviving, to tell you where they were grabbed, where they were held down during the assault.
Right, give us an example. You have a piece of clothing right there. Give us a little scenario.
Yes, here I have a mock example of a case. This is not a real piece of evidence, this is just a mock example to show what we would do.
Right.
So if you imagine in this case, this person was touched on the thigh area. What we would do is flatten out the item, mark the area where we thought they were touched.
Right.
Now we can sample quite a large area, as you can see.
Wow.
So once you've marked your area, you've photographed it all, you just get a scalpel blade and you slowly shave the top surface area.
Yeah.
So all you're doing here is just lifting the top surface area of the cloth and any cells that are sitting on this surface.
So how does that get analyzed?
As you can see, there's no visible.
Yeah.
Same as any other DNA, same as blood or semen or saliva. Same process.
Boulder police initially believed family members were responsible. Statistical evidence supported their focus, according to retired FBI profiler Greg McCrary. Statistically, it is a 12-to-1 probability that it's a family member or a caregiver who is involved in the homicide of a child.
On how much the person sheds every time they touch someone else. But if you've held someone down, usually a perpetrator is sweating, they're quite nervous. They do leave behind quite a lot of DNA. So if there has been significant contact or they shed a lot of DNA, you will detect it.
The staged appearance of the crime scene, the unusual ransom note, and the lack of signs of forced entry all pointed toward family involvement in the investigators' minds. Detective Lou Smith, who came out of retirement to work the case, concluded an intruder was responsible. He believed someone entered through a broken basement window, though critics pointed to undisturbed cobwebs around the window area. Former FBI agent John Douglas, hired by the Ramsey family, supported the intruder theory and criticized the investigation. "I know of no other case in which the majority of people have decided the solution based on statistics. I know of no other case in which the public substantially believes what has been reported in the tabloids."
There is a disguise. There was an attempt to disguise the handwriting, but as the letter went on, the person was losing this disguise.
In 1999, after 13 months of hearings, a grand jury voted to indict John and Patsy Ramsey on charges of child abuse resulting in death and accessory to a crime. However, District Attorney Alex Hunter refused to sign the indictment, stating there was insufficient evidence for prosecution. This decision remained secret until 2013, when unsealed court documents revealed the grand jury's recommendation. In 2006, schoolteacher John Mark Carr was arrested in Bangkok, Thailand, after confessing to JonBenét's murder. He claimed to have drugged and sexually assaulted her before accidentally killing her. However, his DNA did not match evidence from the crime scene, and he was quickly cleared of involvement. Burke Ramsey, who was in the house the night his sister died, was interviewed multiple times but never considered a suspect. In defending his family, he stated, "We didn't get spanked, nothing of the sort, nothing close, nothing near laying a finger on us, let alone killing your child."
I remember the casket was small and her eyes were closed. I think one of her eyes was a little bit like droopy or something. I thought that was weird.
How did you feel seeing her?
A lot of sadness. I don't think I really fully grasped, like, after this I won't see her again.
Patsy Ramsey, who died of ovarian cancer in 2006, never lived to see her family formally cleared of suspicion. District Attorney Mary Lacey officially exonerated the Ramsey family in 2008, citing advanced DNA testing that excluded all family members. She wrote, "The Boulder District Attorney's Office does not consider any member of the Ramsey family, including John, Patsy, or Burke Ramsey, as suspects in this case." However, this exoneration remains controversial. Former Boulder Police Chief Mark Beckner later stated, "Exonerating anyone based on a small piece of evidence that has not yet been proved to even be connected to the crime is absurd." Today, the case remains open and active. Boulder Police Chief Steve Redfern recently stated, "John Ramsey, now 80, continues to push for advanced DNA testing and genetic genealogy techniques that have solved other cold cases like the Golden State Killer. He believes modern technology could finally identify JonBenét's killer. This has not gone away from our life for 28 years, John Ramsey reflects. As a father, I'm just sorry I didn't protect her. I'd say I'm sorry."
In 2012.
When I found her, it was a rush of relief. And then, of course, within moments, I realized that she probably was dead. But she was back in my arms.
The murder of JonBenét Ramsey remains one of America's most infamous unsolved cases. Despite decades of investigation, media coverage, and public speculation, her killer has never been identified or brought to justice. The case serves as a stark reminder of how quickly a family's life can be shattered and how the quest for justice can span generations. As technology advances and new investigative techniques emerge, there remains hope that this tragic mystery will finally be solved, bringing peace to JonBenét's family and answering the question that has haunted America for nearly 3 decades: who killed JonBenét Ramsey? If you found this deep dive into the JonBenét Ramsey case informative, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more true crime content.